Welcome to A Week With. We're looking at STARLINK, Battle for Atlas, as I would like to call it, Star Fox, Battle for Atlas. Because Star Fox was the reason why I picked this video game up, the reason why a lot of people picked this video game up. If I also describe this video game to you, it would be that there's a crew trying to get a robot home, and on the way to getting a robot home, an evil force comes and kidnaps the main captain, because the captain knows how to make a natural resource by hand. And you pick up as Star Fox, or you pick up as the main commander. If you're noticing that I'm not naming it names, because the story is, for the most part, forgettable. One of my bigger gripes about the video game, this video game is still fun. I do recommend it. I've recommended it to my brother, which I'll let him play when he's ready to play. But the game is good. Just stories lacking. I didn't know much going into the game. I know I wanted to play Star Fox. Did a lot of research about it, trying to figure out what it was and how people felt about it. But there's really no big buzz around the game. It felt like this game was kind of like the marketing department just kind of fell apart on it. That's one of the better things about it to me, though, was because I knew little to nothing about it. All I knew is I really wanted to play a Star Fox, and for what I've heard is that this game is the closest thing to a good Star Fox game that a lot of us, like me, have been wanting to play. One of the standout things for this game is the traversal. In this game, you're basically behind a ship, an airplane, a fighter jet, whatever these things are called, spaceships, that's the right word. You're in a spaceship, and you travel between planets, and you can use hyperdrive to get between planets because there's space, and space is big. You burn on the way into planets because you're coming through the atmosphere. You get on the planet, you hover. You can fly around the planet, and then when you're done with the planet, you fall out to space. I thought that was fun. It just felt seamless. I could fight somebody and then fly out to space. On the planet, you do a lot of scanning, you do a lot of resourcing. Scanning and resourcing is basically a way to build up your outposts, which is basically the main point of what you're doing on these planets. You're resourcing, you're building armories, you're building outposts, which outposts, they improve your visibility on each planet. You build your armories, which armories, like it says, they defend the planet. You build refineries, which refineries, they give you money. And a couple other posts that give you crafting agents and stuff like that. That's one of your main things, your main objectives to do on each planet. The weapon transitions are seamless. If I pull a weapon off of a ship I'm playing with and put another one on, the correlation between the physical property that's in my hand and the actual video game on screen was seamless. Perfect. Star Fox, great. You have your own standalone missions in this game, which I will have to say that this is probably the first time that a game has came out on the Xbox, the PlayStation, and the Nintendo Switch, and the best version of this game was on Nintendo Switch. The combat was great also. I liked being able to see my enemies and trying to figure out what weapons to use for each enemy. And do I use stasis, which is kind of like a gravity? Do I use the flamethrower, which is obviously fire? Or do I use, one of the cold barometers, or cold barrage, which is basically like a missile launcher that is ice. So it was a very good game, and I enjoyed the combat of it. The ship destroy system. During this combat, if you were ever to lose all your health, what they would do is they would respawn you out by your ship, and the main ship, I should say, the main ship is in space, so it will take you off the planet and put you right back into space. You have to come all the way back to the planet and do all that mission all over again. Now, that's if you only have one ship. If you have multiple ships, what you can do is, once that ship went down, it will say, hey, do you want to respawn, or do you want to go ahead and put a ship on, your controller, a physical ship on your controller, and go ahead and run. Now, when it came to repairs to these ships, which I thought was when it came to repairs to these ships, which I thought was good, the repairs are actually cheap, and you pay one price for all your ships. So if I have 3 ships and they all, I just was terrible at combat that day, and I had 3 damaged ships, I can repair all 3 of them for 500 credits or something like that. If I had one ship, it would be 500 credits. So I thought that was relatively cheap. I thought that was great. Now, I really didn't like how the digital content didn't work with physical content. And what I mean by that, if you look at the screen, the bottom of the screen, bottom right corner, you can see me playing with a ship on top of a Nintendo Switch Joy-Con. That ship is the physical ship. When you buy this video game and you buy the physical version of this video game, they give you 2 ships. If you're buying the Nintendo version, you get 2 ships, you get 2 pilots, and you get a weapon, and you actually get 2 weapons. One weapon is digital, one ship is digital. Now, if I take the Star Fox ship and I want to use my digital weapon, I can't. I can't use a physical ship with a digital weapon. I have to use all digital. So you can't cross. And I really didn't like it, because I thought it kind of took it out of the joy of using the physical ship, whatever. There wasn't enough voice actors in this game, which I guess it's not anything that isn't new to games like this. But when you're playing bigger games, AAA games, and this has been the year of really good AAA games, you kind of take for granted that they hire a lot of voice actors. So, like I said earlier, you go to each planet, and each planet has an outpost, an armory, a refinery. Each one of those buildings has the same voice. So I can go to planet A and go to an outpost. That voice is the same voice as planet B's outpost, planet C's outpost, all the same voice. There's pirates in this game. The pirates have literally one voice. One voice actor, excuse me. And I think that does kind of take away from the vast world. I mean, you're introducing this big universe where everyone sounds the same. I didn't like it. This game got very repetitive. Towards the end of the game, and I think this is probably a 20-25 hour video game, which is good. Not long enough for the amount of money you spend to play this game. But it gets very repetitive towards the end. You're basically doing the same thing over and over again. You're going to a planet. You're going to a planet. You're resourcing items. You're building outposts. You're building towers. It's basically go to a planet, resource, fight a little bit, leave. That's good, but when that seems to be happening over and over and over again, towards the end of the game, you get kind of burnt out from it. And that's why, for me, a person who typically tries to do as much as I can in a video game, I got kind of tired of it and ended up just trying to finish up quickly towards the end. There's no real progression also, which sucks, because for as much resourcing and as much for much resourcing you do and for much fighting you do, the XP system in this game really means nothing. You don't really you don't really advance or strengthen any of your pilots or your weapons. And what XP in this game does for Star Fox is basically each pilot has an ability. So one pilot, Shad, what that pilot will do is become invisible. She's a space pirate, but she's on our side. Star Fox's ability is calling in one of your fleet mates from the Star Fox crew. So like I'll push my pilot ability, and like Flippy will show up and he'll be like, do a barrel roll. He'll just say something silly and he'll fight alongside me. But XP basically goes towards that ability. It doesn't go to strengthen your actual person or strengthen your guns or anything like that. What you do for strengthening your weapons is you craft and you find what you get a lot of stat boosts in each area. You get stat boosts all over the place. So that stuff, you just stack that, until your weapons are strengthened. But you basically don't really use any XP to advance your player, which is sad. But this game was great. I will play it again when gaming is not so hectic and there's not so many big games coming out. And but the saddest thing about this game is that this game is going to go under the radar because it got released between Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Red Dead Redemption 2. It was literally the game that came out between those games. Like the week. This game had a week before Red Dead Redemption came out. So both those games are very, very good open world games, very long open world games. So pick this game up if you have a chance to play it. Well, if you have time. I don't know if we'll get a second one because it didn't do that well. But I mean, it is what it is. Next week we'll be looking at Red Dead Redemption 2. And I can tell you that it's going to be a good review. Peace.